Family claimed poverty, spoiled my brother. I exposed their lies, ending my role as their bank. They lost all. I gained freedom. I've always been the quiet one in my family, the one who fades into the background while my older brother, Matt, shines like a star. Growing up, it was Matt this and Matt that. The athlete, the charmer, the one my parents pinned their dreams on. Me? I'm Lisa, the steady one, the one who got good grades, worked a stable job, and never caused trouble. I didn't mind, really. I loved Matt, and I figured that's just how families work. Someone's the golden child, and someone's, well, just there. But over the years, I started noticing how uneven things were. When Matt needed money for college, my parents scraped together every penny. When I graduated, they said they were too stretched to help with my loans. I paid them off myself, working nights at a diner while juggling classes. When Matt's car broke down, they bought him a new one. When mine died, they told me to figure it out. I did, always did. I told myself it was fine. I was independent, and that was something to be proud of. Still, I helped whenever they asked. Lisa, can you pitch in for Matt's rent? He's between jobs. Lisa, the kids need new clothes. Matt and Jen can't swing it this month. I'd sigh, transfer the money, and move on. They'd call me reliable, the rock, but it started feeling more like the bank. I didn't have a family of my own, no husband, no kids, so I guess they thought my money was fair game. I let it slide because, well, it's family, right? Then came the moment that broke something in me. I'd been saving for years to buy a house. My dream, my big reward for all the hard work. I'd finally found the perfect place, a cozy fixer-upper in a quiet neighborhood. I told my parents about it over dinner one night, expecting maybe a congrats, or we're proud of you. Instead, Mom frowned. A house. Lisa, we can't help with that right now. Things are tight. Dad nodded. Matt's got a lot on his plate with the kids. We're tapped out. I swallowed the hurt. I'm not asking for help, I said. I saved up. It's mine. They exchanged a look, like I'd said something unreasonable, and changed the subject. A week later, I signed the papers, moved in, and didn't bother inviting them over. It was my victory, and I wanted to keep it that way. But then I saw it. I was at the mall, grabbing paint for my new place, when I spotted Matt, Jen, and their two kids coming out of a high-end store. They were loaded with bags, designer clothes, shiny new gadgets, the works. Behind them trailed my parents, grinning ear to ear, carrying more. My niece waved a fancy doll, and my nephew had a gaming console box under his arm. I ducked behind a display, my heart pounding. Things are tight, they'd said. Couldn't help me with a house. But this? I stood there, paint cans in hand, watching them laugh and head to the parking lot. Matt's SUV gleamed. Newer than mine, I noticed. Mom said something, and they all cracked up. I didn't catch it, but I didn't need to. The scene said enough. They'd lied. They weren't broke. They just didn't care about me. I went home, set the paint down, and stared at my empty living room. For the first time, I didn't call to check in. I didn't text. I just sat there, letting the silence settle. A few days later, Mom called. Hey, sweetie. How's the house? Her voice was bright, like nothing had happened. Fine, I said, keeping it short. Oh, good. Listen, Matt's car payment's due, and we're a little short. Could you help out? Just this once. I almost laughed. Just this once, like it hadn't been dozens of times before. No, I said flatly. Silence. Then, what do you mean, no? I mean I can't. I've got my own stuff now. She huffed. Lisa, don't be like that. We're family. I hung up, my hands shaking. Family. Sure. The calls didn't stop. Dad tried next. Lisa, what's going on? Mom's upset. Then Matt. Hey sis, I really need a hand. The kids are counting on me. I ignored them all. For once, I wasn't bending over backward to fix their problems. It felt strange, guilty, but good. Then Jen, Matt's wife, texted. You're seriously mad over nothing? Grow up. That stung, but it also lit a fire in me. Nothing. I'd spent years being their safety net, and they thought it was nothing? A week later, I got a frantic voicemail from Mom. Lisa, please call back. We're in a bind. Matt's behind on bills, and we can't cover it. We need you. I listened, then deleted it. A bind? Funny how they'd had cash for a mall spree, but not for bills. Something clicked. I wasn't just done helping. I wanted to know how deep this went. I started digging, asking around, piecing things together. What I found made my blood boil, but it also gave me a plan. Update 2. Saying no felt like cutting a cord I didn't know was choking me. 4 days after, my phone buzzed with their messages. Mom's guilt trips, Dad's lectures, Matt's whining. I muted them all and focused on my house, painting walls and unpacking boxes. It was mine, earned with my own sweat, and I wasn't letting their drama ruin it. But that mall scene gnawed at me. How could they afford that if they were always tight? I needed answers, not just for me, but to prove I wasn't crazy. I started small, calling a cousin who'd always been straight with me. Hey, have Mom and Dad been helping Matt a lot lately? I asked. She hesitated. Lisa, they've been pouring money into him for years. Cars, vacations, you name it. Didn't you know? My stomach dropped. Vacations? I thought back. Every time I'd asked about a family trip, they'd said they couldn't swing it. But Matt's Instagram told a different story. Beach photos, ski trips, all with the kids and my parents. I'd assumed he'd paid for it. Apparently not. Next, I talked to an old family friend who worked at the bank. I can't give details, he said. But your parents' account isn't as dry as they claim. They've been moving money around, big chunks to Matt. I thanked him, my mind racing. So they'd lied, over and over, while I'd been their backup plan. I felt sick, but I wasn't stopping there. I dug through my own records, every Venmo, every emergency check I'd sent. Thousands, over years, for bills, repairs, Matt's kids. Meanwhile, they'd been living it up. The more I uncovered, the angrier I got. But anger wasn't enough. I needed proof they couldn't deny. I hired a guy, Paul, a private accountant type, who could trace money trails. Give me what you've got, he said. I handed over dates, amounts, anything I could remember. This might take a bit, he warned. I nodded. I could wait. I'd waited my whole life to be seen by them. Now I'd make them see me. While Paul worked, their calls got desperate. Mom left a tearful voicemail. Lisa, Matt's car got repossessed. We can't fix this without you. Matt texted. Sis, I'm drowning. Please, for the kids. I didn't respond. Then Jen showed up at my house, banging on the door. Open up, Lisa. I cracked it, arms crossed. What? She glared. You're ruining us. Matt's a mess. The kids are crying. And you're sitting here like some princess? Help us. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Princess? I've been your ATM for years. Figure it out. She stormed off, yelling, You'll regret this. I didn't regret it. Not yet. But the guilt crept in at night. What if the kids really were suffering? What if I was being too harsh? Then I'd remember those designer bags, Matt's smug grin, and my resolve hardened. A week later, Paul called. Got something. Meet me tomorrow. I barely slept, my mind buzzing with what he'd found. We met at a coffee shop, and he slid a folder across the table. Your parents have been funneling cash to Matt for ages. New car leases, private school tuition, even a down payment on their house. Meanwhile, they've been crying broke to you. And get this, they took out a loan last year, claiming it was for medical bills. No record of that, just more transfers to Matt. I flipped through the papers, my hands shaking. Bank statements, timestamps, all tying back to their lies. There's more, Paul said. They've been claiming you as a dependent on taxes, saying they support you. I stared at him. Support me? I've been supporting them. He nodded. Exactly. It's fraud, technically. Up to you what you do with it. I sat back, reeling. Fraud. They'd used me, my money, my name, while laughing behind my back. The mall wasn't a one-off. It was their life. I thanked Paul and went home, the folder burning a hole in my bag. Part of me wanted to storm over and scream, but that wouldn't hit them where it hurt. I needed a plan. Their begging ramped up. Mom called, sobbing. Lisa, we're losing everything. Matt's in debt, and we can't help him. Dad texted, Be reasonable, Lisa. We're family. I ignored it all, plotting my next move. Then Matt showed up, looking wrecked. Sis, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't know they were leaning on you so much. Help me one last time. I'll pay you back. His eyes were red, but I'd heard that promise before. No, I said. You've got Jen, the kids, Mom, Dad. Lean on them. He left, head down, and I shut the door. That night, I decided, no more secrets. I'd show them what I knew, all at once, where they couldn't twist it. I called Mom, faking worry. We need a family meeting. I'm scared for Matt. Let's fix this together. She bought it, relieved. Oh, Lisa, thank you. This weekend. I agreed, my heart pounding. They had no idea what was coming. I wasn't just cutting the cord. I was about to light it on fire. Update 3. The days before the family meeting dragged, but I kept busy, organizing Paul's evidence, rehearsing what I'd say. My house felt like a fortress, my one safe place while their messages piled up. Mom texted, "So glad you're coming around, sweetie." Matt, "Thanks, sis, this means a lot." I didn't reply. They thought I was caving, rushing back to save them like always. They were wrong. Sunday hit, and I walked into my parents' house, folder tucked under my arm. The living room was full. Mom, Dad, Matt, Jen, even the kids playing in the corner. Everyone smiled, tense but hopeful, like I was their lifeline. Mom hugged me. "Lisa, I knew you'd help." I nodded, keeping my face neutral. "Let's talk," I said, sitting down. They leaned in, eager. I started slow. "I've been thinking a lot about family, how we support each other. You've always said I'm the reliable one, right?" Nods all around. "So when you asked for help, I gave it. Rent, bills, school stuff, thousands over the years." Mom shifted. "We appreciated it, Lisa." I smiled faintly. "Good, because I've got questions about where your money's been going." I opened the folder, laying out the bank statements. "This says you've paid for Matt's cars, his kids' tuition, a house down payment. And this," I held up the loan docs, "a medical loan that went straight to him." The room went still. Dad frowned. "Where'd you get that?" "Doesn't matter," I said. "What matters is you told me you were broke, couldn't help with my loans, my house. But you could afford this." Matt jumped in. "Sis, it's not like that." I cut him off, pulling out photos Paul had snagged. Matt's family at a resort, my parents tagging along, time-stamped last year. A vacation you said you couldn't take me on. And this, I tossed them all receipts on the table. Designer stuff, the day you said you were tight. Jen's face flushed. "That's private." "It stopped being private when you lied to me," I snapped. Mom's eyes welled up. "Lisa, we didn't mean..." "Wait," I said, holding up the tax forms. "You claim me as a dependent, said you support me. I've been supporting you. That's fraud." Dad's jaw dropped. Matt stood. "You're blowing this out of proportion." "Am I?" I shot back. "You've used me for years, took my money, my trust, and laughed about it. I saw you at the mall, grinning while I painted my house alone. You didn't think I'd notice?" Silence. Then Jen exploded. "You're selfish. The kids needed that stuff." I laughed bitterly. "Selfish? I've given everything. You just took more." Mom sobbed. "Lisa, we love you. You love what I do for you," I said. "Not me." Matt tried again, softer. "Sis, I'm sorry. I messed up. Let's fix this." I shook my head. "You fix it. I'm done." I stood, leaving the papers. "Keep these. I've got copies, and a lawyer on speed dial if you try anything." I walked out. Their stunned faces burned into my mind. The fallout hit fast. Matt called, begging, "Lisa, we're losing the house. Help me, please." I hung up. Mom left voicemails. "We're so sorry. Don't do this." I deleted them. Jen posted online, painting me as the villain. Some family turns their back when you need them most. Friends messaged me, confused, but I didn't care. The truth was out. A week later, Matt showed up again, desperate. "Jen's leaving me. She blames me for this. The kids are a mess. I need you." I looked at him, my big brother, broken, and felt a pang. "I needed you too," I said. "You didn't care then." "I don't now." He left, tears in his eyes, and I shut the door. It hurt, but I wasn't bending. Paul called after. "They're scrambling, selling stuff, begging loans." "You shook them up." I nodded. "Good." I wasn't gloating, just relieved. They couldn't hide anymore. My phone quieted after that, the silence eerie but freeing. I'd lost them, but maybe I'd never really had them. Now, I had me, and that was enough. Update 4. Months have passed since the meeting, and my life's a different world. The quiet's strange. No calls, no emergencies, just me and my house. I've painted every room, hung photos I love, made it mine. At first, I kept waiting for them to barge back in. Mom's tears, Matt's promises, but they didn't. They couldn't. I pulled the plug on their game, and they were sinking without me. The aftermath wasn't pretty for them. Matt and Jen split. She took the kids and moved in with her parents. He sold the house, the car, everything, scrambling to pay debts I'd once covered. My parents downsized too, letting go of their big place for a cramped apartment. I heard it through a mutual friend. No one's smiling much these days. Mom tried reaching out once, a shaky voicemail. "Lisa, we miss you. Can we talk?" I listened, felt a twinge, then deleted it. Talking wouldn't fix years of lies. Matt made one last play, showing up at my door months later. He looked rough, thin, tired, nothing like the golden boy I grew up with. "Sis," he started, voice cracking, "I'm sorry. I didn't see what we were doing to you. I'm losing everything. Help me start over." I studied him. Part of me wanted to hug him, say it'd be okay. But I remembered the mall, the vacations, the years I'd begged for scraps of their attention. "You've got to figure it out," I said. I did. He nodded, defeated, and left. That was the last I saw of him. Jen tried spinning it online. Posts about toxic family and betrayal. Some believed her, but most didn't. Too many knew the truth. My cousin texted, "She's mad you stopped funding their life. Ignore it." I did. Their world was crumbling, and I wasn't picking up the pieces. I sent them a letter through Paul, demanding they correct the tax fraud or face legal action. They fixed it, quietly, no fight left. Life's lighter now. My paycheck's mine. I've traveled, taken a pottery class, even started a garden. No guilt, no emergencies draining me. Friends rallied around, shocked at what I'd endured. "You're free," one said, and she was right. Mom and Dad tried one last guilt trip through a family friend. "They're struggling, don't you care?" I smiled. They didn't care about me. I'm good. Matt's divorce finalized recently. He's in a tiny rental, working odd jobs. Humbled, I guess. My parents keep to themselves, pride battered. I don't wish them harm, just distance. I saw Jen at the store once, kids in tow. She glared. I walked past. They're ghosts now, echoes of a life I outgrew. I think about that meeting sometimes, how their faces fell, how the truth stripped them bare. It wasn't revenge, it was survival. I lost a family, but I gained myself. My house is my sanctuary, my dreams are mine to chase. They underestimated me, thought I'd always cave. They were wrong. I'm not the quiet one anymore. I'm the one who stood up, walked away, and never looked back.